Jake Morrison stood quietly on the bridge of his ship and watched the enemy fleet through the darkness of space. His vessel was invisible to their sensors because humans had built technology that bent light around metal and made solid things disappear from view. The UNS Shadowdrift had been hiding in this star system for 3 months, and nobody knew they were here. The enemy ships belonged to something called the Galactic Council, and they thought humans were weak and stupid. Jake knew better because he had been watching them for a very long time. His mission was simple but dangerous, and if anyone found out what he was doing, then Earth might face a war against 15 different alien species at the same time. Lisa. Kane worked at her computer station and listened to alien radio signals that came from the big ships outside. She was very good at understanding alien languages and could translate their words into English faster than any machine. The aliens were talking about humans again, and they were not saying nice things. "The bug people are moving their warships toward our space colonies," Lisa said without looking up from her screen. "They think we are getting too strong too fast, and they want to stop us before we become a real threat to their power." Ryan Bell looked at the tactical display that showed where all the enemy ships were positioned and how many weapons they carried. He had been Jake's friend since they joined the Space Navy together, and he trusted Ryan more than anyone else in the galaxy. The numbers on the screen were not good because the aliens had brought enough firepower to destroy several human worlds. 15 different species, and they are all working together against us, Ryan said quietly. That has never happened before in galactic history according to our intelligence files. Usually these aliens spend their time fighting each other over trade routes and mining rights. What the aliens did not know was that humans had been preparing for this day since the first contact with alien life happened 5 years ago. Admiral Helen Carter had created a secret program called the Silent Watchers, and she had sent human spies to every major alien world in the galaxy. These spies looked like maintenance workers or traders or tourists, but they were really gathering information about alien technology and military strength. Ben Wright sat in the communications center and coordinated with dozens of other human agents who were scattered across alien space. His computer showed messages from agents on 15 different worlds, and all of them reported the same thing. The aliens were scared of humans, and they were planning to do something about it very soon. The message from Agent Kelly Brown on the Zephyrian homeworld was especially worrying. She had infiltrated their military command center by pretending to be a cleaning robot repair technician, and she had access to their most secret battle plans. The Zephyrians had convinced the other alien species that humans were an existential threat that needed to be eliminated before they could spread further into the galaxy. Agent Tony Garcia reported from the Crystal World, where the Alien Council met to make decisions about galactic law and order. He had been posing as a mineral merchant for 2 years and had built relationships with several council members who trusted him enough to share classified information. The aliens were planning something called an intervention, which sounded like a polite word for invasion. Jake read the intelligence reports and felt a cold feeling in his stomach because the situation was worse than anyone on Earth realized. The aliens were not just worried about human expansion into their territory. They were terrified of human military capabilities that they did not understand and could not predict. The Corvin species had tried to analyze human weapons technology and failed completely because humans built things differently than any other species in the galaxy. Human ships were designed to fight enemies that did not exist yet, and human soldiers trained for battles against threats that might never come. This confused the aliens because their own military forces were built to fight specific known enemies, using proven tactics that had worked for thousands of years. Agent Nancy Lopez had spent 6 months living among the aquatic aliens who breathed water instead of air, and she had learned that they were completely baffled by human behavior. Humans built defensive positions that could withstand attacks from weapons that nobody in the galaxy possessed. Humans stored enough supplies in their colonies to survive sieges that could last for decades. Humans acted like they expected the entire universe to declare war on them at any moment. Lisa Kane intercepted another alien transmission, and her face went pale as she translated the words. "They are calling us a plague species," she said in a shocked voice. "They think we reproduce too fast and consume resources too quickly and spread across space like some kind of disease." The aliens had studied human history, and they were horrified by what they found. Humans had survived planetary wars that should have destroyed their civilization completely. They had adapted to climate changes that would have killed most other species. They had developed technologies while fighting constant conflicts against their own kind, and they had never stopped improving their weapons, even during times of peace. Agent Mark Johnson sent a priority message from deep inside alien territory, where he had been observing their industrial facilities for 8 months. The aliens were building new weapons specifically designed to fight humans, and they were sharing their research with species who had never cooperated before in galactic history. Jake Morrison knew that Earth had to be warned about what was coming, but he also knew that his mission was not finished yet. The Silent Watchers needed more information about alien capabilities before humanity could decide how to respond to this growing threat. The UNS Shadow Drift continued to drift silently through space, while its crew gathered intelligence that might determine the fate of the human species. Jake looked out at the alien fleet and wondered if they had any idea that humans were already 10 steps ahead of them in this deadly game of galactic politics. The great crystal palace on Thessia Prime sparkled under 3 different colored suns as representatives from 15 alien species gathered for the most important meeting in galactic history. The building was made from living crystal that grew from the planet's core and could amplify telepathic thoughts across vast distances. Today those thoughts were filled with fear and anger, directed at one small blue planet on the edge of civilized space. Ambassador Veltar floated above the council chamber in a bubble of pure energy that protected his fragile ethereal form from the harsh atmosphere that other species needed to breathe. His people had evolved beyond physical bodies millions of years ago and existed as beings of pure thought and energy. They had guided galactic civilization for thousands of years and had never encountered a species that worried them as much as humans did. The human expansion rate exceeds all mathematical models. Veltar's voice echoed through the minds of every delegate in the chamber. They have established colonies in 47 star systems during the past 10 years, which represents the fastest territorial growth in recorded galactic history. General Zexhai slammed his armored fist against the speaking platform with enough force to crack the crystal surface. His species had conquered half the galaxy through military might before joining the council, and they understood warfare better than anyone else in the chamber. The Corvan hegemony had never retreated from a battle and had never encountered an enemy they could not defeat through superior firepower and tactical superiority. Human military doctrine makes no logical sense. Zexhai growled through his mechanical translator. They refuse our offers of technological assistance, and they reject our guidance about proper colonial development procedures. They build their own ships using designs that waste resources and materials, but somehow achieve better performance than our proven engineering methods. Hidden inside the ventilation system that circulated breathable atmosphere throughout the massive chamber, Amy Foster recorded every word through sensors so advanced that they could detect individual molecules in the air. She had been living inside the council building for 3 weeks disguised as a maintenance robot, and nobody suspected that a human spy was listening to their most secret discussions. The human infiltration technology was far beyond anything the aliens possessed because humans had developed stealth capabilities while fighting wars against their own species. Human soldiers had learned to hide from enemies who knew every human trick and tactic, which made them invisible to aliens who had never fought against human ingenuity. President Thulanen clicked his sharp mandibles together in a nervous rhythm that indicated extreme distress among his spider-like people. The Arachnid Federation controlled the largest manufacturing facilities in the galaxy, and they were accustomed to being the dominant industrial power in galactic politics. Human competition was threatening their economic supremacy in ways they had never experienced before. Human industrial capacity grows at an exponential rate that defies economic theory, Thulanen said through his chemical translator that converted pheromone signals into audible speech. They build factories faster than we can build individual machines, and their production efficiency increases every month, despite having access to inferior raw materials. High Counselor Ythara represented the Crystalline Union, whose people had achieved perfect harmony between technology and nature through millions of years of careful evolution. Their crystal cities were works of art that functioned as living organisms, and their society had eliminated war and conflict through spiritual enlightenment. They were deeply disturbed by human psychological profiles that showed no capacity for the peaceful coexistence that had made galactic civilization possible. Human behavior patterns indicate a species in permanent preparation for total warfare, Yathara said in harmonious tones that resonated through the crystal chamber. They stockpile resources as if expecting galactic siege conditions, and they train their military forces to fight against overwhelming odds using tactics designed for survival rather than victory. Amy Foster transmitted this intelligence back to Earth through quantum communication channels that existed outside normal space, time, and could not be intercepted by alien technology. Human scientists had discovered these communication methods while studying the fundamental nature of reality itself, and they had kept this breakthrough secret from the rest of the galaxy. Admiral Kesselon represented the aquatic dominion whose bioships were grown rather than built and could adapt to any space environment through controlled evolution. His people lived in the deep oceans of water worlds and had developed biotechnology that surpassed mechanical engineering in most applications. They were confused by human reluctance to accept biological augmentation that could improve human capabilities beyond natural limitations. Humans refused genetic optimization that could eliminate disease and extend their natural lifespan to match galactic standards, Kesselon said through water-filled breathing apparatus that allowed him to survive in the chamber's dry atmosphere. They insist on maintaining their original biological form despite obvious disadvantages compared to enhanced species. Defense Minister Voxel spoke for the Silicon Concordat, whose machine intelligences had achieved consciousness through advanced computer technology. His people existed as programs running on massive computer networks that spanned entire star systems, and they could process information at speeds that made organic thought seem impossibly slow. They were disturbed by human artificial intelligence, research that followed completely different principles than their own technological development. Human computer technology develops along parallel paths that show no influence from galactic standard programming methods, Voxel announced through speakers that translated digital thoughts into acoustic vibrations. They appear to be developing artificial consciousness using techniques that our analysis algorithms cannot predict or understand. The council delegates shared their growing fear that humans represented something entirely new in galactic civilization. Every other species had joined the galactic community by adopting established technologies and social structures that had proven successful over millions of years. Humans insisted on developing their own solutions to problems that had already been solved by more advanced civilizations. Commander Nethfor of the Photonic Collective, whose people existed as beings of living light, spoke about human energy weapon research that violated several fundamental laws of physics as understood by galactic science. Human scientists were apparently working on principles that should have been impossible according to established theories about how the universe functioned. Human weapons research produces results that contradict our most basic understanding of energy manipulation and matter conversion, Nethfor said, through patterns of colored light that were translated into spoken language. They achieve effects that should require impossible amounts of power using compact devices that fit inside their small spacecraft. The fear in the chamber was becoming overwhelming as each species representative reported similar conclusions about human capabilities that exceeded logical expectations. Amy Foster continued recording everything while maintaining her disguise as a simple maintenance unit that cleaned dust from the crystal surfaces. The terrible realization was spreading through the council that humans might represent a threat that could not be contained through traditional diplomatic or military methods. General Peter Clark walked through the deepest levels of Luna Base where human military leaders kept secrets that could change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The underground facility extended far below the surface of Earth's moon and contained laboratories and command centers that officially did not exist according to any government records. Only 50 people in the entire human military knew about the projects that were developed in these hidden chambers. Dr. Susan White stood before a massive holographic display that showed detailed intelligence reports from every major alien civilization in the galaxy. She had spent her entire career studying alien psychology and technology, and she knew more about galactic species than most aliens knew about themselves. The information on the display would have terrified the Galactic Council. If they had any idea that humans possess such detailed knowledge about their capabilities and weaknesses. The ethereal collective believes their telepathic abilities make them immune to deception because they can read thoughts directly from organic minds, Susan said while pointing at brain scan images that showed human neural activity. They have no idea that we developed psychic shielding technology 18 months ago using principles we discovered while studying their own telepathic emissions. Colonel Frank Davis activated a tactical simulation that showed how human forces would engage alien fleets in actual combat scenarios. The computer models used real intelligence data about alien ship designs and weapon capabilities gathered by Silent Watcher agents throughout the galaxy. The results of these simulations were classified at the highest levels because they revealed human military advantages that needed to remain secret until the right moment. Corvin plasma weapons are impressive, but they depend on magnetic containment fields that can be disrupted using focused electromagnetic pulses, Frank explained while the simulation showed human ships destroying alien vessels with weapons that looked primitive compared to alien technology. We have developed countermeasures that can neutralize their entire weapon systems using devices small enough to fit inside standard missiles. What made these briefings especially significant was the revelation that humanity had been preparing for galactic war since the day humans first encountered alien life. Every diplomatic meeting had included covert intelligence gathering operations. Every trade agreement had been designed to give humans strategic advantages that aliens did not recognize. Every cultural exchange had been an opportunity to study alien weaknesses and capabilities. Major Alice Johnson had recently returned from 18 months of deep cover infiltration inside arachnid space where she had worked as a mining equipment operator while secretly analyzing their industrial and military infrastructure. Her report contained information that would allow human forces to cripple the Arachnid Federation's economy with surgical strikes against carefully chosen targets. Arachnid manufacturing depends on biological processes that are vulnerable to specific chemical compounds that we can synthesize in our standard laboratories, Alice said while displaying molecular diagrams on the holographic screen. A single cargo ship carrying the right payload could shut down their entire industrial base for months without causing permanent damage to their population. Captain Roy Adams commanded the Stealth Reconnaissance Division that operated invisible ships throughout alien territory and gathered intelligence that was impossible to obtain through normal diplomatic channels. His vessels used technology that made them undetectable to alien sensors while allowing them to observe alien military exercises and weapons testing at close range. The Aquatic Dominion's bioships are powerful, but they require constant biological maintenance using specialized nutrients that come from only 3 star systems, Roy reported, while showing supply chain analysis charts. If we can disrupt their access to these biological resources, then their entire fleet becomes inoperative within 6 months. The most disturbing aspect of the intelligence briefing was the revelation that human military doctrine was fundamentally different from anything that existed in galactic civilization. Alien species fought wars to control territory or resources or to settle political disputes. Humans had developed concepts of total warfare that involved the complete destruction of enemy capabilities and the elimination of threats that might emerge in the future. General Clark activated a strategic planning display that showed how human forces would respond to various alien attack scenarios. The plans were comprehensive and ruthless and designed to ensure human survival, regardless of the cost to alien civilizations. Every major alien species had been analyzed for critical vulnerabilities that could be exploited to achieve rapid victory with minimum human casualties. The Silicon Concordat's machine intelligences are distributed across multiple computer networks, but they all depend on quantum processing cores that operate at specific energy frequencies, General Clark explained while highlighting technical specifications on the display. We have developed quantum disruption weapons that can cause permanent damage to their consciousness matrices. Dr. Linda Adams worked on biological warfare research that focused on alien physiology and metabolic processes. Her laboratory had developed weapons that could target specific alien species while leaving humans completely unaffected. The research was controversial even among human military leaders, but it represented a decisive advantage if diplomatic solutions failed to prevent galactic conflict. Each alien species has unique biological requirements that can be exploited using carefully designed biological agents, Linda said, while showing genetic analysis reports. We can create conditions that would make their homeworlds uninhabitable, while leaving the planet suitable for human colonization. Commander Bob Taylor had spent 2 years infiltrating the Crystalline Union's peaceful society and learning about their advanced technology that integrated living crystal with sophisticated energy manipulation systems. His intelligence reports revealed that their seemingly invulnerable crystal cities had design flaws that could be exploited using human engineering knowledge. Crystalline technology depends on harmonic resonance patterns that maintain structural integrity across massive architectural systems, Bob explained while displaying frequency analysis charts. We can generate sonic weapons that would cause catastrophic resonance cascade failures throughout their entire civilization. The briefing continued, with reports from agents who had infiltrated every major alien species and gathered intelligence about their military capabilities, industrial infrastructure, political leadership, and social vulnerabilities. The scope of human intelligence gathering was far beyond anything that aliens suspected, and it gave humanity decisive advantages in any potential conflict. Captain Steve Miller reported on photonic collective technology that manipulated pure energy in ways that seemed almost magical compared to human engineering principles. His analysis revealed that their energy-based existence made them vulnerable to specific types of electromagnetic interference that humans could generate using modified communications equipment. Photonic beings maintain coherence through quantum entanglement networks that can be disrupted using focused electromagnetic pulses at precise frequencies, Steve said while showing energy pattern analysis. We can essentially cause their consciousness to become scattered across space until they lose individual identity. The final revelation was that humanity had developed these capabilities while maintaining the appearance of being a primitive species that posed no threat to established galactic powers. Human diplomats continued to negotiate trade agreements and cultural exchanges, while human scientists and military leaders prepared for a war that aliens could not imagine and could not win. The emergency council session had stretched into its 4th day, as alien representatives struggled to reach agreement about what they called the human problem. The crystal chamber on Thessia Prime hummed with nervous energy as 15 different species debated the future of galactic civilization. None of them realized that their every word was being recorded by human agents hidden throughout the facility. Admiral Kesselon's bioship pulsed with bioluminescent warning patterns as he shared intelligence reports that had arrived from deep space monitoring stations scattered throughout the galaxy. His aquatic people had developed the most sensitive detection equipment in known space, and they had discovered something that filled them with terror about human intentions and capabilities. Our long-range sensors have detected massive energy signatures in 17 different star systems that were previously empty of any significant activity, Kesselon announced, while projecting holographic images of the detected anomalies. The energy patterns are consistent with large-scale construction projects, but the technology signatures do not match any known galactic engineering methods. From her concealed position inside the chamber's atmospheric recycling system, Amy Foster transmitted this critical intelligence back to Earth through quantum communication channels that existed outside normal space. The aliens had discovered humanity's mobile fortress construction project, which was designed to support human military operations far from home territory. Defense Minister Voxel processed the data through advanced analytical algorithms and reached conclusions that would have impressed human strategic planners if they had known about his capabilities. The Silicon Concordance machine intelligence could analyze vast amounts of information and identify patterns that organic minds might miss completely. Human population growth rates exceed all established biological models for sustainable species development, Voxel announced through digital translation systems. Their industrial output increases at exponential rates that should be impossible, given their available resources and energy production capabilities. High Counselor Yathara shared disturbing reports from Crystalline Union observers who had been studying human behavior patterns through long-range surveillance systems. Her people had achieved perfect social harmony through millions of years of evolution, and they were deeply troubled by human psychological profiles that showed no evidence of the peaceful nature that made galactic civilization possible. Human. Military forces conduct training exercises that simulate combat against overwhelming numerical odds, using tactics designed for species survival rather than territorial conquest. Ythara said in harmonious tones that resonated through the crystal. Structure. They appear to be preparing for conflicts that involve the extinction of entire civilizations, including their own. President Thulanen clicked his mandibles in patterns that indicated extreme agitation among his spider-like people. The Arachnid. Federation had intercepted human communications that revealed strategic thinking beyond anything they had encountered in thousands of years of galactic politics. Human military planners discussed scenarios that no other species would even consider possible. Intercepted human military transmissions reference something called contingency planning, which appears to involve simultaneous warfare against multiple galactic civilizations. Thulanen reported while displaying translated communication fragments. They have developed strategies for conflicts that would require fighting every known species at the same time. General Zexhai stood and addressed the assembly with the authority of someone who had conquered star systems through military force and understood warfare better than any other delegate in the chamber. His analysis of human military capabilities had revealed disturbing truths about their preparations for galactic conflict. Human weapons development follows principles that are completely different from established galactic military technology, Zexhai announced while displaying technical analysis reports. They build devices designed to fight enemies that do not currently exist using combat doctrines that prepare for threats we cannot imagine. Commander Nethvor shared intelligence gathered by photonic collective reconnaissance units that could travel at light speed and observe human activities without being detected by conventional sensors. His people had discovered that human industrial facilities were producing equipment and materials that served no apparent purpose according to current galactic understanding of technology and warfare. Human manufacturing facilities produce components and materials that our analysis systems cannot identify or categorize, Nethvor said through patterns of colored light. They appear to be building technologies that operate on scientific principles that are unknown to galactic science. The council chamber filled with fearful energy as each species representative shared similar reports about human activities that defied logical explanation. Ambassador Veltar floated higher above the assembly as his ethereal form absorbed the collective anxiety and processed it through telepathic networks that connected his people across vast distances. The greatest concern is not human military capability, but rather their apparent preparation for total galactic warfare. Veltar's voice echoed through every mind in the chamber. They behave as if they expect the entire galaxy to become their enemy, and they are taking measures to ensure their survival under those impossible circumstances. High Admiral Zorthian commanded the Unified Stellar Navy, which represented the combined military forces of all Council species, and had never faced a threat that required coordinated action against a single enemy civilization. His strategic analysis indicated that humanity posed a unique challenge that could not be addressed through conventional military or diplomatic methods. Human space colonies are designed to be completely self-sufficient during extended siege, conditions that could last for multiple decades, Zorthian reported while displaying architectural analysis of human settlements. They stockpile resources and equipment as if they expect to be cut off from all external support for indefinite periods. The revelation that shocked the assembly most was the discovery that humans had been observing galactic civilization far longer than anyone had suspected. Agent reports indicated that human intelligence gathering had begun almost immediately after first contact and had expanded into comprehensive surveillance of every major alien species. Captain Lucy Martin commanded the infiltration vessel UNS Ghostwalker, which had been positioned in the outer edges of the Thesia system for several weeks while monitoring Council communications and activities. Her ship was equipped with sensors that could detect individual conversations inside buildings on the planet's surface, and she had been recording every detail of the emergency session. The Council delegates reached the terrifying conclusion that humanity represented an existential threat to galactic civilization that could not be contained through normal diplomatic procedures. Ambassador Veltar formally proposed what had previously been unthinkable in galactic politics. We must consider preemptive action against human expansion before they achieve technological and military superiority that makes intervention impossible. Veltar announced while his ethereal form pulsed with determination. If we delay action much longer, they may become too powerful to stop through any means available to us. The chamber fell silent as representatives from 15 species contemplated the implications of launching coordinated military action against humanity. None of them realized that their entire discussion was being monitored in real time by human intelligence agencies that were already preparing responses to every scenario the aliens could imagine. High Admiral Zorthian presented the military assessment that would determine the fate of both human and alien civilizations. His analysis indicated that immediate action was necessary if the Council hoped to maintain its position as the dominant power in galactic politics. The confrontation began when the Galactic Council decided to test human responses by establishing a military blockade around New Denver, which was humanity's newest and most remote colony. They expected humans to negotiate or compromise or perhaps even abandon the settlement rather than risk open conflict with superior alien forces. They were completely wrong about human nature and capabilities. Admiral Helen Carter arrived in the New Denver system aboard the UNS Leviathan accompanied by a fleet that should not have existed according to alien intelligence about human military capabilities. The massive human dreadnought appeared on alien sensors like a ghost, materializing from empty space because human stealth technology was decades ahead of anything the aliens possessed. Council representatives, this is Admiral Carter of the United Nations Space Command. Her voice carried across all communication frequencies as more human ships began decloaking throughout the star system. I believe we need to have a conversation about the current situation. Ambassador Veltar's ethereal form pulsed with shock as dozens of human vessels materialized around the Council blockade fleet in perfect tactical formation. The alien sensors had detected no approach signatures and no energy emissions that would indicate the presence of such a large military force. Human stealth capabilities exceeded everything that galactic science considered theoretically possible. This is impossible according to our understanding of space travel and detection technology. Veltar transmitted to the human admiral while trying to comprehend how an entire fleet had approached without being observed. Our sensors should have detected your ships from several light years away. Admiral Carter's response sent chills through every alien commander in the system because it revealed the true scope of human intelligence gathering and strategic planning. She activated holographic displays that were visible to all ships in the area and began presenting information that demonstrated humanity's complete knowledge of alien capabilities and vulnerabilities. You have been observing human activities for approximately 2 years since we established our first colonies beyond Earth's solar system, Carter announced, while detailed intelligence profiles appeared on screens throughout the alien fleet. However, we have been studying your civilizations for much longer than that. The holographic display showed comprehensive military assessments of every Council species, including detailed analysis of their weapons technology, industrial capacity, political structure, and strategic weaknesses. The information was so complete and accurate that it could only have been gathered through extensive covert operations that had been ongoing for years. The Ethereal Collective maintains 17 critical infrastructure nodes that control their entire civilization's energy distribution network. Carter began reading from intelligence reports that shocked alien commanders with their precision and detail. The Corvin hegemony's plasma manufacturing depends entirely on rare mineral resources that are extracted from exactly 3 star systems. General Ben Wright stepped out from the shadows on the bridge of the alien flagship where he had been observing their emergency strategy session without being detected by their security systems. The Council commanders froze in terror as they realized that a human agent had been among them during their most classified military discussions. We have been listening to your debates about preemptive action against humanity, Wright announced, while alien security forces remained paralyzed by the implications of his presence. We know about your contingency plans and your fleet movements and your assessment of our military capabilities. President Thulanen's mandibles clicked frantically as he tried to understand how human infiltration had penetrated their most secure facilities. The Arachnid Federation's bioships were living organisms that should have detected foreign biological signatures immediately. but somehow human agents had bypassed their natural defenses completely. "How long have your people been infiltrating our space and observing our activities?" Thulanan demanded while his security systems conducted emergency scans for additional human agents throughout the alien fleet. "Admiral," Carter's smile was visible across the communication link as she prepared to reveal the full extent of human intelligence operations that had been monitoring alien civilizations since first contact. The truth would fundamentally change the balance of power in galactic politics forever. "We have been watching you since the day our species first encountered alien life 5 years ago," Carter announced while more intelligence displays showed the scope of human surveillance networks. "Did you seriously believe that a species which survived planetary nuclear warfare and environmental collapse would enter galactic politics without proper preparation?" The terrible realization spread through the alien fleet as commanders began to understand that humanity had never been the primitive newcomers they appeared to be. Human diplomatic missions had been intelligence-gathering operations. Human trade agreements had been designed to provide strategic advantages. Human cultural exchanges had been opportunities to study alien psychology and technology. High Admiral Zorthian reviewed tactical displays that showed his fleet completely surrounded by human vessels that had appeared from nowhere using technology that violated several laws of physics as understood by galactic science. His military analysis indicated that the Council forces were in an impossible tactical position against an enemy they had completely underestimated. "Your ships carry weapons that our sensors cannot identify, and you are using propulsion systems that produce no detectable energy signatures," Zorthian announced while trying to assess human military capabilities in real time. "How is this technologically possible according to established scientific principles?" Captain Roy Adams materialized on the bridge of the Crystalline Union flagship, where he had been observing their crystal technology for several months while disguised as a harmonic resonance technician. His presence revealed that human infiltration had penetrated every major alien civilization simultaneously. Human science follows different principles than galactic standard research because we developed our technology while fighting constant wars against ourselves, Adams explained while alien commanders struggled to comprehend the implications. "We learned to innovate under pressure and create solutions that work rather than solutions that follow established theories." Admiral Carter continued revealing human intelligence that demonstrated complete knowledge of alien industrial capacity, population centers, military installations, and political leadership. The scope of human surveillance was so comprehensive that it included personal information about individual alien commanders and detailed analysis of their decision-making processes. The Aquatic Dominion's bioships require specialized nutrients from biological sources that exist in only 3 star systems, Carter announced while displaying supply chain analysis charts. "The Silicon Concordate's machine intelligences depend on quantum processing cores that operate at specific energy frequencies that can be disrupted using targeted electromagnetic pulses." The final revelation was the most disturbing because it demonstrated that humanity had been preparing for galactic warfare while maintaining the appearance of peaceful cooperation with alien civilizations. Human military doctrine was designed for total conflict against overwhelming odds using strategies that no alien species could predict or counter. The question now is whether we are going to coexist as peaceful neighbors, or whether you intend to continue planning our destruction, Admiral Carter announced while human weapon systems powered up throughout the fleet. "Because if you choose the latter option, then this conversation represents the only warning you will receive before we demonstrate why preparation and determination matter more than superior numbers." The balance of power in the galaxy shifted permanently as alien commanders realized they were facing an enemy that had been 10 steps ahead of them from the very beginning.